Welcome to HFY Stories. If you're ready for jaw-dropping stories and a universe full of excitement, hit that subscribe button like it's the big red button in a space opera. Give us a like if you're feeling that interstellar vibe and comment below to join the conversation. The Galactic Survey Mission. The Galactic Survey Corps was known for its meticulous documentation of new species across the universe. Captain Trellick, a seasoned Zarkian, had seen everything from colossal spacefaring leviathans to microscopic organisms that thrived on the surface of asteroids. So, when he received the mission to catalog the fauna of a little blue planet called Earth, he scoffed. Primitive and uninspiring. Trellick muttered, flipping through the report sent by the Galactic Council. This planet's creatures are tiny and weak, hardly worth our time. Still, orders were orders. He and his team of fellow Zarkians descended to Earth, setting up their observation camp in a lush green area called the Serengeti. Their mission was simple: collect specimens, document behavior, and determine if any of Earth's creatures could be a threat or asset to the Galactic Council. The Zarkians were known for their technological superiority and arrogance. They rarely encountered a species they couldn't dominate or exploit. Trellick had no reason to believe Earth would be any different. "Deploy the drones," Trellick ordered, waving a clawed hand toward his subordinate, Lieutenant Sill. "Let's get this over with quickly." The drones fanned out, capturing footage of elephants lumbering majestically, lions lounging under the shade, and cheetahs sprinting with breathtaking speed. Trellick's interest was piqued by none of these. "These creatures are large but lack intelligence," he noted, glancing at the screens displaying real-time footage from the drones. "Let's see what else this planet has to offer." A few days into their mission, a drone sent back footage of a small, fierce creature battling a snake much larger than itself. The tiny animal's fur bristled as it snarled, showing no fear of its much larger opponent. With lightning speed, the creature clamped its jaws on the snake's head, delivering a fatal bite. "What is this?" Trellick mused, leaning closer to the screen. "Bring that creature in for examination." Sill obeyed, deploying a retrieval drone to capture the small mammal. The creature, identified by the locals as a honey badger, was transported to the Zarkians' lab for closer inspection. Trellick observed it through the reinforced glass of its containment chamber. "It's small but vicious," Sill commented, watching the creature pace back and forth. "Do you think it poses any real threat?" Trellick shook his head. "It's too small to be of any significance. Its aggression is impressive, but it would be nothing against our technology and strength. Still, let's see how it behaves under stress." The Zarkians began their experiments, subjecting the honey badger to various tests to gauge its intelligence, strength, and endurance. What they found was a creature that refused to back down, no matter the challenge. It attacked everything from holographic predators to electric prods with equal ferocity. "Remarkable," Trellick admitted after the latest test, which saw the honey badger successfully break out of a simulated predator's jaws. "It has no sense of self-preservation. Its only instinct is to fight." Sill smirked. "Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Reminds me of another species we've recently encountered." Trellick's brow furrowed. "Who?" "The humans," Sill replied. "Reports from the Council suggest that humans also show a remarkable resilience and refusal to submit." Trellick shrugged. "Humans are nothing. They lack the technology and knowledge to pose any real threat. This honey badger is just an anomaly, a tiny beast with a big attitude. We'll log our findings and move on." But as they prepared to conclude their mission, something unexpected happened. The containment chamber's alarm blared, red lights flashing as the honey badger escaped its restraints. The creature tore through the lab, its small size allowing it to maneuver through vents and ducts, evading capture. Trellick watched in disbelief as the honey badger caused chaos, dismantling equipment and injuring two Zarkian scientists with its sharp claws and teeth. He'd never seen anything like it. This tiny creature was not just aggressive, it was unstoppable. "Seal the exits," Trellick shouted, but it was too late. The honey badger had slipped out, disappearing into the wilderness. The Zarkians tried to track it, but the creature was too cunning, too quick. Days passed, and Trellick found himself fixated on the honey badger. He studied footage of its behavior, trying to understand what made it so fearless, so relentless. There was something more to this creature, something that defied explanation. Perhaps, Trellick thought aloud one night, staring at the footage of the honey badger's escape, Earth's creatures are not as insignificant as we thought. Unbeknownst to the Zarkians, the honey badger's escape had not gone unnoticed. In a nearby village, a group of human rangers had spotted the creature, recognizing it immediately. They had been tracking the Zarkians' activities, aware of the alien presence but unsure of their intentions. Now, with the honey badger on the loose, the humans knew they had a chance to learn more. And so, the game of cat and mouse began. The Zarkians hunted the honey badger, while the humans observed from the shadows, waiting for the right moment to strike. Little did Trellick know, his underestimation of Earth's tiny creatures and their human allies would soon lead to a confrontation unlike any he had ever faced. Unlikely allies. Captain Trellick's frustration grew with each passing day. The honey badger's escape had thrown the entire mission into disarray. What was supposed to be a quick cataloging operation had turned into a manhunt for a small, elusive creature. Trellick's pride was wounded. No Zarkian mission had ever been thwarted by something so small and insignificant. Any sightings? Trellick demanded as he entered the command center, where Syl and a few other Zarkian officers were monitoring various screens. Syl shook his head. None, Captain. The drones haven't picked up anything. It's as if the creature vanished. Trellick growled, his tail lashing behind him in irritation. Double the search radius. We can't let this creature make a fool of us. The Zarkians increased their efforts, deploying more drones and patrols. They even began to question the local wildlife, using translation devices to communicate with a more intelligent species. But the honey badger remained hidden, evading every trap and sensor the Zarkians set up. While the Zarkians focused on their search, a group of human rangers moved through the Serengeti with practiced stealth. They had been tracking the Zarkians since their arrival, keeping a safe distance and observing their actions. The escape of the honey badger had been unexpected, but the rangers knew an opportunity when they saw one. Among the rangers was Sarah, a seasoned wildlife biologist with a keen interest in alien life. She had been skeptical when rumors of extraterrestrials reached her ears, but the sight of the Zarkian ship had erased all doubt. Now, as she watched the Zarkians' frantic search, she couldn't help but feel a mix of amusement and concern. These guys are really upset about that honey badger, Sarah whispered to her companion, a tall ranger named Marcus. I wonder why. Marcus shrugged. Maybe it's a matter of pride. They came here thinking they could handle anything, and now a tiny animal has made fools of them. Sarah smirked. Well, honey badgers are known for their tenacity. I bet they didn't expect that. The rangers continued to observe, gathering data on the Zarkians and their technology. They knew they couldn't confront the aliens directly. Not yet. They needed more information, more understanding of their capabilities and intentions. The honey badger's escape was a distraction, one that Sarah intended to use to her advantage. As night fell, Sarah and Marcus set up a small camp, their equipment hidden from Zarkian sensors. Sarah reviewed the footage they had captured of the Zarkians, noting their advanced technology and the way they communicated. They're organized, I'll give them that, Sarah said, scrolling through the images on her tablet. But they're not invincible. We just need to find their weakness. Marcus nodded. And maybe, just maybe, that honey badger can help us. If it's causing them this much trouble, there has to be something special about it. The next morning, the rangers set out again, this time with a plan. They would track the honey badger, learn from its behavior, and use it to gain an advantage over the Zarkians. It was a long shot, but Sarah was confident. After all, humans were nothing if not resourceful. Meanwhile, the Zarkians were growing desperate. Trellick's superiors were demanding results, and he had nothing to show for his efforts. The honey badger's escape had become a symbol of failure, a blemish on his record. He was determined to capture the creature, no matter the cost. "Prepare the traps," Trellick ordered. "We'll flush it out and capture it. I want every available drone in the air. No more mistakes." The Zarkians set up a series of traps throughout the Serengeti, baiting them with food and scent markers designed to attract the honey badger. They deployed drones equipped with thermal imaging, scanning every inch of the area for signs of the elusive creature. As the Zarkians executed their plan, Sarah and Marcus watched from a distance, taking note of the traps and the drone's flight patterns. They moved carefully, avoiding detection, and soon found themselves near one of the baited traps. "Look," Marcus whispered, pointing to a small dark shape moving toward the trap. "There it is." Sarah's eyes widened as she saw the honey badger approach the bait, sniffing cautiously. "It's going for it," she murmured. "This could be our chance." But as the honey badger moved closer, something unexpected happened. It suddenly stopped, its nose twitching as it sniffed the air. Then, with a surprising display of intelligence, it backed away from the trap, moving around it and disappearing into the underbrush. The trap remained untouched, the bait ignored. Sarah blinked in astonishment. Did it just sense the trap? Marcus grinned. "Looks like it. These Zarkians might be in for more trouble than they bargained for." Trellick's voice crackled over the Zarkians' comms, filled with frustration. "The creature's avoiding the traps. How is this possible?" Sarah and Marcus shared a knowing look. The honey badger was more than just a fierce animal. It was smart, and that intelligence might just be the key to outsmarting the Zarkians. As the Rangers moved through the Serengeti, they formulated a plan. They would use the honey badger's cunning to their advantage, creating diversions and leading the Zarkians on a wild chase. It was time to turn the tables, to show the Zarkians that Earth's creatures, no matter how small, were not to be underestimated. The honey badger strikes back. Captain Trellick's temper was at a breaking point. The honey badger's ability to evade capture had made him a laughingstock among his peers. He had underestimated the creature, and now his entire mission was in jeopardy. He paced the command center, his claws clicking against the metal floor as he issued commands. "Double the patrols. I want every inch of this area covered." Trellick barked, his eyes flashing with anger. "We will find that creature, or heads will roll." Syl nodded, relaying the orders to the rest of the Zarkian team. The drones were deployed in greater numbers, sweeping the Serengeti with their sensors. The traps were reset, this time with more sophisticated bait and sensors designed to detect even the slightest movement. But as the Zarkians tightened their net, the honey badger remained one step ahead. It moved through the underbrush with the stealth of a shadow, avoiding the traps and slipping past the drones. It seemed to know exactly where to go, as if it could sense the Zarkians' every move. Trellick's frustration turned to suspicion. "There's no way this creature is acting on its own," he muttered, watching the drone feeds. "Something or someone is helping it." He turned to Syl. "Increase the surveillance. Look for any signs of interference. If there are humans involved, I want them found." As the Zarkians expanded their search, Sarah and Marcus watched from a hidden vantage point. They had been following the honey badger's movements, studying its behavior, and using it to understand the Zarkians' tactics. The more they observed, the more they realized that the honey badger was not just a wild animal, it was a force of nature. "Look at it go," Marcus whispered, watching the honey badger slip past a patrol of Zarkian drones. "It's like it knows exactly what to do." Sarah nodded, a smile tugging at her lips. "It's smart, that's for sure. I've never seen anything like it." The Zarkians have no idea what they're up against. The Rangers had been using the honey badger to test the Zarkians' defenses, learning their weaknesses and finding gaps in their coverage. With each passing day, they grew bolder, setting up diversions and leading the Zarkians on wild chases. The honey badger had become their unwitting ally, a symbol of Earth's resilience and defiance. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Sarah and Marcus set up a new diversion. They had found a Zarkian trap and rigged it to malfunction, ensuring that when the honey badger approached, it would trigger a false alarm. The plan was to draw the Zarkians away from their main base, giving the Rangers a chance to gather more intel. "Ready?" Sarah asked, checking her equipment. Marcus nodded, his eyes on the trap. "Ready. Let's see if this works." The honey badger appeared, moving with its characteristic blend of caution and boldness. It approached the trap, sniffing the air, and then, with a sudden burst of speed, triggered the mechanism. The trap snapped shut, but instead of capturing the honey badger, it malfunctioned, sending up a shower of sparks and a loud alarm. Within seconds, Zarkian drones converged on the location, their lights flashing as they scanned the area. The honey badger darted away, disappearing into the night, and the Rangers moved swiftly, using the chaos to slip past the Zarkians and approach their base. Inside the Zarkian command center, Trellick watched the footage of the trap's malfunction, his eyes narrowing. "Something's not right," he muttered. "This isn't just a creature avoiding traps. Someone is interfering." He turned to Xil. "Activate the perimeter defenses. I want every entrance and exit monitored. If there are humans out there, we'll catch them." But the Rangers were already inside. They moved through the base with the silence of shadows, avoiding the patrols and making their way to the central control room. Sarah hacked into the Zarkian systems, downloading data and sending it back to their headquarters. "Got it," Sarah whispered, pulling a small data chip from the console. "Let's get out of here." As they made their escape, the honey badger made another appearance, darting through the base and causing a commotion. The Zarkians were thrown into disarray, chasing the elusive creature and leaving the Rangers with a clear path to their exit. Outside the base, Sarah and Marcus watched as the honey badger disappeared into the darkness, its eyes glinting in the moonlight. "That little guy is something else," Marcus said, shaking his head in admiration. Sarah smiled. "He's a fighter, just like us. I think we could learn a thing or two from him." With the data in hand, and the Zarkians none the wiser, the Rangers returned to their camp. They had what they needed to expose the Zarkians' plans and protect Earth from any future threats. But as they packed up, Sarah couldn't help but feel a sense of respect for the honey badger. "It's not just about strength," she said softly, watching the horizon. "It's about spirit. That little guy never gives up, no matter what." Maybe that's the real lesson here. Marcus nodded in agreement. "Yeah. If a honey badger can take on the Zarkians and win, maybe we humans have a fighting chance too." As they prepared to leave, the honey badger reappeared, watching them from a distance. Sarah smiled, raising a hand in salute. The honey badger stared back, its eyes gleaming with a fierce intelligence. In that moment, a silent understanding passed between them. The Rangers and the honey badger were kindred spirits, bound by a common fight. Together, they had shown the Zarkians that Earth was not to be underestimated. And as they moved into the future, they knew that no matter what came their way, they would face it with the same unyielding spirit. The showdown and the lesson. Captain Trellick's patience had reached its breaking point. The honey badger's continued evasion was a source of immense frustration, and his reputation was on the line. Determined to end this farce, he called an emergency meeting with his team, his eyes burning with resolve. "Enough of this nonsense," Trellick roared, his voice echoing through the command center. "We've wasted too much time chasing a single creature and a handful of humans. It's time to bring this to a decisive end. We'll trap that honey badger and capture every human involved. No more mistakes." The Zarkians prepared for an all-out offensive. They deployed their most advanced drones, outfitted with high-frequency trackers and net launchers designed to ensnare even the smallest of creatures. The drones formed a tight perimeter around the Serengeti, their sensors scanning for any sign of the honey badger or the Rangers. Sarah and Marcus, having observed the Zarkians' latest movements, knew the stakes had never been higher. The honey badger had become a symbol of Earth's defiance, and they couldn't let it fall into enemy hands. They needed a plan to ensure the creature's safety, while also disrupting the Zarkians' operations. "We have to draw their attention away from the honey badger," Sarah said, her eyes scanning the horizon as she formulated a plan. "We need to create a diversion that will give the honey badger a chance to escape." Marcus nodded, a spark of excitement in his eyes. "What do you have in mind?" Sarah's plan was audacious but brilliant. "We're going to turn the tables on them. Let's show them how it feels to be outwitted." As the Zarkians tightened their net, Sarah and Marcus set their plan into motion. They used a series of carefully placed explosive charges to create a chaotic diversion. The explosions rocked the Serengeti, sending plumes of smoke and debris into the air. The Zarkian drone's sensors were overwhelmed, their screens flickering with errors as the system struggled to process the sudden influx of data. The Serengeti became a battlefield of confusion. Fire and smoke obscured the drone's vision, and the Zarkians scrambled to regain control. Amid the chaos, Sarah and Marcus seized the opportunity. They had rigged the charges to coincide with the honey badger's known escape route, turning the explosions into a shield for the creature. The honey badger, sensing the change in its environment, took advantage of the chaos. It darted through the smoke, evading the confused drones and slipping past the Zarkians' perimeter. Trellick watched in disbelief as his carefully laid plans unraveled before his eyes. "Get those drones back online," Trellick bellowed, his frustration boiling over. "We're being outmaneuvered by a creature and a couple of humans." While the Zarkians were preoccupied with the disruptions, Sarah and Marcus infiltrated the Zarkian command center once again. They accessed the mainframe, triggering alarms and defensive protocols to keep the Zarkians occupied. With each step, they moved closer to their goal. "Almost there," Sarah whispered as she extracted valuable data from the command center systems. "This should give us what we need to expose their plans." Marcus kept watch, his heart racing as the tension mounted. "Hurry, before they figure out what's happening." As the Rangers made their escape, the honey badger reappeared, darting through the base and creating further confusion among the Zarkians. The creatures pursued it, their attention diverted from the Rangers' retreat. Sarah and Marcus emerged from the command center, their mission accomplished. They watched as the honey badger disappeared into the distance, its eyes reflecting the firelight. It had survived the Zarkians' onslaught, and so had they. "Well, that was something," Marcus said, shaking his head in amazement. "We've shown them that they can't underestimate Earth's creatures or us." Sarah nodded, a thoughtful expression on her face. "It's been an incredible experience. The honey badger taught us a lot about perseverance and resourcefulness. It's not just about physical strength or advanced technology. It's about spirit and intelligence." As they prepared to leave, Sarah glanced back at the Serengeti one last time. The honey badger was gone, but its legacy would remain. It had proven that even the smallest creatures could make a difference in the fight against seemingly insurmountable odds. The Zarkians' defeat was a lesson in humility. Their failure to capture the honey badger and the Rangers highlighted the resilience and ingenuity of Earth's defenders. It wasn't the size or power of an opponent that mattered most, but the heart and spirit with which they fought. As the stars glittered above the Serengeti, Sarah and Marcus knew that they had accomplished more than just a successful mission. They had learned that true strength lay not in brute force or advanced technology, but in the unyielding spirit of those who refused to give up. The honey badger's defiance had become a symbol of Earth's enduring spirit, a reminder that even the smallest creatures could stand tall against the mightiest foes. And as they left the Serengeti behind, Sarah and Marcus carried with them a renewed sense of purpose and a deeper understanding of what it meant to fight for something greater than oneself. The end.